Hello everyone, welcome to the full conversion rate optimization masterclass. And in this masterclass, I'm going to give you a checklist that we use for conversion rate optimization and also take you through the elements that we test, split test and experiment with to find the best conversion rates for our clients. Now, we are, as part of Mapplinks, an agency that works with mostly e-commerce businesses, and hence the checklist is going to be catered slightly towards e-commerce. However, there are also elements for general businesses and other kinds of businesses that you can use as well. So the first thing that you need to understand is that there are different sections right here. We have the main website, we have the landing page, which in case of e-commerce is basically a product page. We have the cart page, we have the checkout page. We also have a master checklist that we use at Mapplinks, which includes a lot of these different experimentations that we try on different pages and different sections of websites, even the thank you page and beyond the user journey as well. And what we do is we find all of these CRO experiments and we rank them as to how easy they are to implement for a client. Does it need a lot of tech or a lot of apps to implement? How important they are in terms of the past data that we have from other clients, that these are the experiments that get most of the results. And finally, what's the average score like? So you can literally just filter out the entire list by the average score so that you're able to see what are the biggest changes that you can make or the lowest hanging fruits. If you go by the easy list, you can find the ones that are the fastest to implement. So let's say if you, for example, want to see an improvement in conversion rate within the next 30 days, then you want to start implementing the ones that are the easiest. So the action plan is go for the easiest ones for the biggest, fastest changes, go for the important ones for the biggest changes. And finally, look for the average score if you want a balanced approach, because there are hundreds of CRO experiments. As you can see, there's already more than 250 experiments here, I believe. So the team keeps adding different experiments as we do them for clients, and some of them are more dependent on the industries, etc. While there could be a repetition as well here. I'm going to share this checklist with you as well. But for now, I'm going to talk to you about the most important ones, and we'll start with the main website. Imagine the user journey, right? So the main website is a website that a user would land on who's probably aware about the brand, or who's coming from SEO or some sort of organic channel, or who's coming from a social media page organically, right? Those are kinds of people that would probably land on the main website. And these are the kinds of things or experiments that you can do to improve your conversion rate from your main website. The second section would be the user journey, wherein someone is landing on your landing page or your product page. So this is the kind of user who's probably coming from a Facebook ad or a Google ad. Your ad funnels will typically get people directly to your product page. So there's a different kind of checklist for the people who are landing up here. Now, whether they've come from the home page or main website or product page or a category page, which is another big part of e-commerce websites, and there's a lot of category page experiments that you can see here as well. For example, this one. And all of those people will eventually go to your cart page if they add the product to cart. And that's where we have the experiments related to the cart page. Once they've added the product to cart, now the main goal is to basically move them to checkout page. So one thing to understand very important here is that the goal of every stage of the user journey is basically to just convert the person to the next stage of the user journey, right? So what's the goal of a landing page or product page is to have people add the product to cart. What's the goal of the cart page is to have people add the product to checkout. What's the goal of the checkout is to basically complete the payment, complete the transaction. Now I would end there by saying that actually the goal of the checkout page that we think from a sales perspective is actually to upsell them to a new product as soon as they finish checkout. And that's what the thank you page is for. This is a good experiment to try out, right? So let's start with the main website first. The first thing that we do, let's say we get a new client, is to test the website on multiple devices. So we want to make sure that this works on multiple devices. If you look into the Google Analytics of any e-commerce website today, most of the traffic comes from mobile devices. So we don't want to lose anything on the table when it comes to device testing. The second thing we check is for the load time, which should be less than 5 seconds. So this really depends on what industry you're in, and maybe you have a single page, single product store, you could actually do much better. But for the main website, since there's going to be a huge banner, there's going to be a sale showing, there could be a top banner, top section for showing the shipping, free shipping and so forth. There could be different showcase products from different categories. So let's say if it's a multi-product store, maybe there are hundreds of products, it's a huge catalog. Then there could be different sections. Maybe let's say it's a fashion brand and we are showing bags and dresses and garments and clothing, etc. Shoes. There could be different sections that might be needed. So always test your website for speed and see what you can optimize. But for the main website, we're looking at 5 seconds. Now, typically the kinds of clients that we work with have Shopify stores with a lot of apps on board. So we try to limit the number of apps that they have and then do the technical optimization, because a lot of times there could be just apps that load really, really slow, and you can figure out that information when you do a speed test. This is one of the tools that you can use to run a speed test as well. On the main website, specifically if you're e-com, you want to have a free shipping indicator. What's the threshold for free shipping? Maybe we are giving free shipping above orders above $50 or $100 or 100 euros or whatever that is. That should be mentioned very clearly on the main website. And we suggest having that in the top bar throughout the website. So it's sort of like a site-wide hack. And if you filter on the checklist, you'll be able to see the site-wide ones by just going through these filters and then selecting the site-wide hacks, right? Trust badges on the homepage, really important. Trust badges come in different types. And one of the ways that you can do this is by showing payment methods. So these are the payment methods that we partner with, or these are the brands that we partner with is another one, or these are the websites that we've been showcased on. So for example, if you have an article on an entrepreneur, you want to put the logo of entrepreneur right there. If you have a news article on Fox News, you want to show that right here. Also, adding social media builds trust. So these are all different ways of building trust, which you can see in this case, in this example, right? Then we have social links for trust building, which was also very clear in this example. One thing that people do if they are first time on your website, let's say they're coming from organic SEO, landing on your homepage, they would click on the social media links to see if they can trust your brand, because this is the first time they're making a purchase from you. Essential to make it easy for them to find those links so that they can search, find information, come back and continue the purchase, okay? Next is the exit intent. So let's say in case, the worst case is that people are going to leave your website right from the homepage. Having an exit intent makes sure that we at least get the lead information, which we can then target again through Klaviyo or any other email marketing tool, maybe through an automation to bring them back with a 10% off or an initial discount to get them back and continue their user journey. So the next thing is human connection. There are different ways that you can build this on the website. One good way is to showcase your founder story, maybe an image of the founder and how they started this brand. If it's a Shopify store, how they actually thought about selling this product and what's their connect to the product. So the more you can connect with the founder and the story, the more likely you have a better human connection with this brand. The second thing you can do is real reviews with photos, videos. Videos of people would be ranked at number 1 in terms of improving conversions. Number 2 would be photos. Number 3 would be just text reviews. But in that case as well, if you can add names of people, that'll be great. So those are the different levels in which you can build human connection. The next is CTA for every page. And this includes 404 pages. This is a good example from Swiss Airlines where it's like destination unknown. So it's sort of like a fun thing to say. Error 404 goes with the brand. And then finally, take me home. So that's very nice. One that they played on the copy based on the brand. So the brand has been included in the copy. That's another way of ensuring that people are with you on this user journey. And when they're aligned with you on the user journey, they are more likely to convert. That also improves conversion rate, right? A little more high level, but it's not a simple hack. But if you can include your brand messaging in every copy that you use, people will be more aligned with you. Now we have site-wide attention grabbing homepage promo. Now this is interesting because it works really well for e-com, especially if you're giving an offer site-wide. So in this case, it's 30% off select styles. In my opinion, the best converting offers are the ones that are site-wide. So buy anything and that offer applies. That's why in case you cannot give that offer, the best thing you can do is just basically give free shipping above X dollars on any purchase. That could categorize as a good site-wide promo. But yeah, if you're a brand who doesn't want to give discounts site-wide and you have a huge catalog, in that case, yes, of course, you can do the select styles as well. The next is main navigation has only shopping links. So you don't want to clutter the main navigation with terms and conditions, policy, and all of those kinds of things. So the main navigation is basically the different product categories in which you have the product category pages. And again, you can go through the checklist to actually find those category pages, category page or category section page. Instead of having the privacy returns and terms right there, just move them all to the footer, right? Next is popular searches on auto suggest. So this is a good example. Before the person even searches, they click there. Then it shows you the popular searches. Now this is to give people ideas of what they can buy from your store. And of course, if they start searching for something, you just want to give them the best suggestions based on your bestsellers. The more you can technically optimize your popular searches and auto suggest search section, the better off you'll be in terms of conversion rates. I wouldn't depend on the default WooCommerce or Shopify or BigCommerce search functionality. Instead of that, I typically for my clients would build this out custom using a team of devs that I have, but you could also just use a plugin that improves the popular search and auto suggest feature that Shopify already has, right? The next one is main navigation. Okay, we discussed this one. What's in it for them copy. This is very interesting because usually what happens is we try to write copy from a perspective of an admin, right? The person who's developing the store. So the first time someone goes on your website, maybe you have a pop-up giving a 10% off to acquire their email address. So instead of saying, what's your email address, or can we get your email, or enter your email, you can say, where should we send your code, right? So this is more of switching the copy from what's in it for us, like we are trying to get your email ID, to what's in it for them, right? Where should we send your code? So your 10% code needs to go somewhere, and that's the reason why your email address is required. So those are the kinds of things that you can experiment on the main website. Like I said, this is not an exhaustive list, but this will give you a starting point, and these are the ones that we found to be essential in any e-com store that we work with. Next, let's move to the product page. Now, in many cases where it's not e-com, it could be a landing page as well. The most important thing for e-com, however, is to have a buy now in one click button. And for Amazon, this is something that you might already be using. Now, the more you use an e-com website, the more comfortable with you are with buy now one click. So you'll see if you filter out the data of people who buy on their second or third order from one of our clients, they are more likely to buy now with one click versus people who are coming to the website for the first time. And that makes a lot of sense because these people who are coming for the first time are still trying to build the trust. They might want to go through the entire process of adding to cart, and they still need to put in their shipping information. They might be just checking out as a guest. They might not even have an account. With Amazon, this works really well because they already have an account. So if you're in store who gets a lot of repeat orders, so if let's say your repeat order rate is anything above 25%, then this is a good experiment for you to try out. If less than 75% of your orders are new orders and more than 25% of your orders are repeat orders. Now let's go to the fact that you should not have an outbound link on the product page. So you don't want to have reference links or links that are going outside your website. And I've seen this mistake some people make. So for example, there is a store that sells whey protein, and in the whey protein store, below the product description, they've linked to a Wikipedia article about how whey works, etc. But you don't want to lose people from the product page. And most likely, if they're reading product information, they already know how whey works, or maybe they just want to get the benefits of whey protein. The next one is live chat or customer support. Anytime these people have a question, let's say how much time do you take to deliver, which should be, by the way, addressed right there on the product page. But some question that you might have missed addressing on the product page, you want to have a live chat option or any option for people to be able to reach customer support. There's a lot of AI tools that you can use now to do this without having to hire a support person, especially if you're on Shopify. There's a lot of options with extensions. But also make sure that most of the questions that people commonly have are addressed in the FAQs by default, so they don't even have to go to the live chat option. The next one is the product title. Now there's an important yin and yang balance to be met here between a user-friendly search title, user-friendly product title, or a search-friendly product title. And a lot of times you might want to include search keywords, but they may not be that user-friendly. So it's important to just find the right balance there. Make sure you focus on the user first when it comes to conversion rate optimization. Of course, someone from your SEO team might say from an acquisition perspective, we want more traffic and hence we want the search title to be more search-friendly. But if you ask me as a CRO expert, I would say it should be focused on the user. So since I also work in acquisition, I work in the full funnel of e-commerce. That's why I'm giving you the suggestion of finding the right balance. So you don't have to be fighting between these two people. One CRO expert who's saying it should be user-friendly and one SEO guy who's saying it should be search-friendly. So this is a real problem that happens when you manage a marketing team, right? Next is using product subtitles to highlight benefits. In case that you're not able to win the CRO expert side and you somehow end up taking the search friendly side, maybe there's a product which is ranking on the first result and you don't want to touch it, then just add product subtitles, which is a good hack that I use with my clients, because a lot of times people don't use subtitles, they just have the product title, but you can just add a field for product subtitles. If it is not supported by your theme, you might need to custom code a little bit on Shopify, for example. You can easily do that. The next is reviews and ratings. So these are obviously two different things. So make sure you show ratings on category pages or pages where there are different variants of products, and then reviews on the detailed product page. In this case, if you're talking about the product page, you want to show a few of the highlighted reviews. The overall rating showing near the product title really helps. And one other thing that I would like to mention since we are here is that since it's a mattress company, they've also mentioned the firmness, is it medium firm, etc. And they've also mentioned the cooling technology levels, for example. So you know which one you want to go for. This is a good comparison section that they have within the product page, which also allows you to buy other products if the current product is not the best one for you. And this is the example of a subtitle that I was saying, value, performance, and cooling. So you know exactly which one to buy based on what you need, right? So split testing the main product photo, this is very interesting because one thing that we found is that when we run ad campaigns, so let's say we are running Meta ads or TikTok ads, etc., to drive traffic to an e-com product page, sometimes there is a creative which is winning. Let's say it's a video or a photo which is winning on the ad campaigns, and then it changes to another creative. Let's say it's a new static image which is a winner. Then we just change the product photo to that static image which is a winner, and that improves conversion rate. So that means people have a right scent, which we call ad scent, from what they smelled on the top of funnel to what they see on the product page, right? Then we have different image for each product variant and size. This is interesting because let's say, for example, if you're a fashion brand and you have different sizes, so you want to show different models wearing different sizes so that the people can associate with that particular size more and hence improve the conversion rate. Strike through old and new pricing is one of the classical hacks. So you have, let's say, the original price, which is a higher price. So you use this for anchoring the user to a high price point, and then you strike through that and show the new price point and also show the amount of discount that you have. Another hack that they've used within this is to show that in a different color. So you see that this is now shown in a red color, so the attention goes into that. I've also tried reversing this and as an A/B test and actually showing the original price big in red and then the new price in black, and that also works for certain stores. So of course, the fundamental thing is you have to keep experimenting and finding what works. That's the growth marketing process. And if you want to learn the growth marketing process, you can take my entire growth marketing course at growthmarketingcourse.com. Literally, that's the website for that. Just go to growthmarketingcourse.com. There you'll learn how to design experiments and find your own winners. But in this video, we are basically running through the checklist to see what are the best hacks that you can implement, right? Next is customer photos and videos. These are always, they're always required, but they are always being tested for conversion rates, right? So within these, you can also experiment videos versus photos, videos and photos, photos first, videos next, videos first, photos next, which video first, which photo next. You can also do mapping of the target persona. So let's say, for example, on the left image, excuse me if I'm wrong and I don't want to be offensive, but let's say the left image, maybe she's slightly younger than the woman on the right image, and maybe your target audience, the funnel, top of funnel traffic is slightly younger. So you want to test the younger one first. You could also see if the traffic changes over time and you start getting slightly older females buying from you, then you could change it, right? So that's an interesting experiment and an area that you can run a lot of experiments on. The next one is with every purchase you also get. Now this is interesting. You don't have to give free stuff, but you might give with every purchase, you get free shipping, you get returns, you get 100-night risk-free trial, which is in this case, because it's a mattress company, compatible with most bed frames. So this is not exactly a thing that you get with every purchase, but it sounds like additional value, and the perceived value for the user is way more important when it comes to the conversion than the actual value that they get. Now, you might want to repeat that a few times to actually let that sink in and understand what it means. The perceived value to the user is way more important when it comes to conversions than the actual value, okay, that you're providing. So the value that you're providing is just the product, basically the mattress, which is of course the main thing, but what's the additional perceived value stack that you can add on top of that? The next is local currencies. Victoria's Secret, of course, is an international brand, but if I would open it from India, then it would show me Indian pricing. So that, of course, makes a lot of sense for me. I don't have to sit and convert the prices. For someone who's not in line with the USD, it could be an issue. Of course, that's not the case for me, but for many people, it could be just an additional step to do, right? So we can't assume that everyone understands USD if we are based in US and if our target audience is international, right? So those are some of the things which are really good for the product page. Now let's move to the cart page. The first thing is urgency trigger by time or quantity. These are two different options that you can use here. One is, okay, you've added it to your cart. Now our goal is to take you from cart to checkout. The metric that matters here is cart to checkout ratio. One thing I missed mentioning in the previous section, the metric that matters on the landing page is of course the landing page to cart ratio, not the landing page to checkout. Of course, if they buy with one click, that's great. But the main metric to measure is how many people go from the landing page to the cart page. Now the main metric here is to measure how many people go from the cart page to the checkout page. So items reserved for 60 minutes. That's one way of doing urgency by time. You can also do it by quantity. Only 3 items left in stock, for example, right? Of course, you don't want to fake it. So you want to put a number that is may not be 100% real, but it sort of changes after a certain point. So let's say it's always 13 items left. And when it reaches 5, it again resets to, let's say 7, 8. You know, you might be adding new product to stock. No one is going to come and complain about that. But again, if you want to be safe, let's say, for example, in this case, ASOS wants to be safe. They just say items are reserved for 60 minutes. On the growth hacking spectrum, you can go from unethical to ethical very easily. So that's just up to you which side of the spectrum. It's how hackish you want to go, not really unethical, but how hackish versus how ethically hackish you want to go, let's call it that. Now, highlight free shipping. If the order is eligible for free shipping, it should be clearly highlighted there. In this case, for example, it shows free standard delivery, and it also shows free and easy returns within 28 days. So now they don't have to look for the refund or return policy all over again, go through those pages, go back to your footer. The most important thing about CRO is that in any step of the journey, you don't want to take your user to the previous step. So from the cart page, you ideally don't want to take people too much back on that particular product page. Of course, you might want to show them new products, but that's not CRO, that's AOV, right? So that's the difference. That's improving the ticket size or improving the average order value, not conversions, right? So conversions, actually sometimes what happens is the relationship between CRO and AOV is such that you can only improve one at a time. And there are many hacks, of course, that you can use to improve both at a time. For example, the shipping threshold, free shipping, providing free shipping. But it could also play otherwise. Let's say, for example, if someone really likes a product which is $60 and you're giving free shipping above $100, now they're not able to find another product for more than $40 and they might just abandon the cart, right? So you sort of sacrifice your conversion in favor of improving average ticket size. That's why the relationship is a bit tricky. But in this case, we are just talking about the conversion rates. Now, showing subtotal, which is pre-tax in a bigger font, typically works because that's really the money that your brand will make. There's going to be some tax amount. If you show the tax in a bigger font or the total in a bigger font, the overall number looks bigger. So this is one hack that you can try out as well. Always show the pay in installments option. If you have buy now, pay later, show that right there. Cart timer experiment is mostly about the expiry time. So in this case, we were just showing, okay, 60 minutes expires, but you can also actually show a countdown going down from 60 minutes so that it creates further urgency. So that's all for the cart page. Let's move to the checkout page. The first thing, most important thing, first thing on Shopify is that you need to enable guest checkout. You don't want people to have to create an account. They could create an account if they want to, but they should be able to check out as guest. Of course, there are certain cases where it may not be possible for your business to give that option, but in 90% of the cases, it is a possibility. You will still get the email/phone numbers if you want to reach out to them regarding their order updates. So guest checkout is a must to have. Trust icons within the checkout page showing that your payment is secure. So you can show a Visa, MasterCard and other links, but you basically want to tell them that your credit card is going in safe hands, right? Finally, again, no outbound links. Like I said, you don't want to take the user back or out of the checkout journey at this point. Next, include an option to use the same address for billing and shipping. So this is an example, Diesel Trainers, billing address, same as delivery address. Takes just one click. I find it really irritating if a website is asking me to fill both separately, which almost never makes sense, right? Next is remove as many additional optional fields as possible. So I've read CRO articles and books where people say you should clearly highlight what are the necessary and mandatory fields on the checkout versus what are the additional or not required fields or optional fields. And my perspective on this is I just eliminate the additional and optional fields. I'm a minimalist when it comes to many things, especially when it comes to CRO, because every additional field will dip your conversion rate a little bit. Just like every additional second of website load time will dip your conversion rate a little bit. So you want to remove all of those additional optional fields. They are good to have, they're not required to be there. What's the best to have is a conversion, is a checkout, right? So just keep the focus on that. The next is buy now, pay later. I also mentioned this in the card, but it's actually very good to have this on the checkout again, because this is, especially if you're in the US market and one of those top 5 e-com markets, US, Canada, UK, New Zealand, Australia, you want to have this option because this is how people shop, right? These geographies have people, buying on depth. So we want to leverage that and show this option. Next is multiple payment gateways. The more payment gateways that you have, now people say that it will be confusing for the user, but actually this is shown by data that people will only look at the payment gateway that's relevant to them. So if I use Apple Pay, I'm going to only look at Apple Pay. If I use GPay, I'll only look at GPay. I'll just look at that and I'll make the payment. If I use PayPal, I'll look at PayPal. If I use Stripe, I'll look at Stripe. So whatever the gateway you're using, people will actually basically just find the ones that they use. But if you only show one or two which are not the ones that they use, then you have a probable dip in conversions, right? Finally, this is what I also mentioned at the starting, that you will have an upsell option at the thank you page, and typically we have an expiry for this as well. Now that you've made an order, if you make a second order within 1 hour of making that order, you will get a big deal, like 25% off on that order. So this is okay for some businesses, for some brands, they don't want to, it doesn't align with their branding, but this is something for you to think about. It's not going to optimize the same conversion, but it's going to increase your conversion rate because there's basically one person placing 2 orders within 1 hour, right? So those are ways and a full checklist of that you can use to improve your conversion rates. And all of these are included in this Google Sheet, as well as how easy, how important in the average score that we have put. So the score is dependent on our clients, so don't judge us by the score and don't tell us you said this was easy, but it's not easy. It's easy for us to do as Mapplinks. So if you think that this is helpful, I'm going to leave a link where you can get this sheet, and then you can track or duplicate this for yourself, for your own brand, if you have your own e-commerce brand. And again, at Mapplinks, we have a full funnel e-commerce growth team. So we go right from paid ads to CRO to email marketing, retention, and all of the other channels that are required in the e-com stack. So if you need any of our e-commerce marketing growth services, we are always here. I'm happy to come on a call for a free consultation. If you're doing anywhere around $50,000 a month in revenue from your e-com store, that's typically going to be the right time to talk to us. So that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed this masterclass and checklist. I'm going to put the links in the description for you to take it forward. Thanks.